Ahoy there. Today on the Red Sea, what is the most severe case of someone being completely out of touch with reality you have ever seen? My cousin was spoiled and sheltered her entire childhood through college. Then her parents stupidly cut the leash without any preparation and released her into society. She quickly got in trouble for bouncing checks all over town. My mom picked her up and asked why the hell she was writing bad checks everywhere. Turns out my cousin was under the impression that as long as you had checks in your checkbook, you had money in your account. She did not understand that you deposit in a number and then can spend or withdraw up to that amount. Please teach your kids basic finance. Note, this was like 1996, before it turns into a who writes a check anymore discussion. You can basically replace check with credit card and it's updated for present times. Apparently there are people who think that they're just free money. Credit card at the limit? Time to open up another one. Had a friend who insisted she was in a relationship with a C-list celebrity whom she met once during a comic convention. All the celebrities' Instagram and Twitter posts were for her and everything had a meaning behind it. When the celebrity got married, she said that it was just for the media, so she and celebrity could live a quiet life. When he did not do anything for her birthday, she had a breakdown. She went to therapy not long after. My old boss at the time was a girl of 26 who got $4 million from her mom a year to play with. Her mom is very wealthy in China. Her daughter is here trying to be a CEO of a company for funsies. I accidentally got a job at that company. One day she told us we were all going on a group outing for bonding. She took us to an outlet mall 4 hours away. Told the rest of us 7 people that she was going to go shop and she'd see us later. That was code for do not follow me, duckers. Every 2 hours she'd let us know she was going to go and load her bags to the giant van they rented and would group text us telling us we can meet her there to unload as well. We all get paid under 50k. We have nothing to unload. By lunch she had proceeded to fill up the van with malarkey. She then asks me where all my new stuff is and I said I'm budgeting right now. She goes take out a credit card and go shop. That's the American way. Seriously. Okay. By 9 PM her bags were taking up people's seats and they had to sit with her stuff. She spent 30k. The rest of us spent about $70. We were tired and bored and cold. To this day I still believe she thinks she did something nice for us and does not understand how polarizing and not at all team bonding that was. After a certain income, people just lose their ducking minds about normal human interaction and expectations. Your crazy rich boss story reminded me of mandatory department meeting my old team had to attend. It was 3 hours and consisted of the upper management and sales leaders talking about how awesome it was when they were all flown to Hawaii to stay at the company owner's private resort, and then how awesome it was to be flown to Alaska to ice fish at the company owner's private reserve. Why? One guy came back with $2,000 worth of vacuum sealed salmon. Great times, huh? Nobody cared that my department was not involved in sales in any way. That we were actively screwing the rest of the national departments by being dragged off the phones 48 hours, and that all of us made just over minimum wage. When we complained to our supervisor, the upper management told him we were ungrateful for the opportunity to be inspired and uplifted by the possibilities in the company. I'm a mental health therapist who works with severe mental health diagnoses such as schizophrenia, etc. So I have met a lot of people who are not in touch with reality, but I'm assuming the question is more about people who appear to have their wits about them and just are very unaware about the realities of life. I have a sad one. My female cousin who was getting married was the very shy, nice, but not popular kid. She also did not attend family events or really build relationships with anyone. She was marrying a gentleman very similar to her, but with a wiener. However, her family was pretty well off, and their older son just had a huge expensive wedding with about 200 guests. Even though she asked for a small wedding, her family invited all these family members, etc. And even though they did not get any RSVPs back, they still went all out on venue and food and entertainment. Apparently it was the same with the groom wanted small wedding and did not have much of a social group slash family. Apparently when wedding day came there were only about 10-15 guests in a venue set up to entertain and feed over 150 people with an open bar. Bride and groom did not drink. Bride and groom were both extremely embarrassed and it ruined the whole day for them given how awkward and quiet it was. My immediate family was not invited to the event. My family sucks, but that's a different story. But I always just felt really bad for her. Neither the bride or groom were bad people, but they were just reserved and private people that had a very special day ruined by oblivious parents. Side note, a few years later, after building successful careers and coming out of their social shells, they had a pretty wonderful small renewal of vows in a gorgeous location with select friends and family. I knew someone who unironically tried to convene that not only is Pokemon demonic, but they exist in real life and there are reported cases of them attacking and harming people. Back in the 90s there were tons of funders that thought Doom was a recruiting tool for Satan. Doom, where the object is to kill demons, then go to hell and kill even more demons, until you get to the head demon, and kill him too. You would think the religious nuts would be very pro demon killing. My sister grew up with everything handed to her and literally cried when her first car was not the color she wanted. Married Rick cannot fathom why I cannot take off work whenever it suits me and says stuff like I will not ask my boss for a week off. I would tell him I'm taking the week off. One bully of a boss asking the 3 people who suffered most from his behavior if they would want to move to a new employer with him as a team. HMM. How about no way in hell? I went to a private international school in London as a teenager. Most kids there had parents working good jobs, but in between them were some filthy rich kids with parents in the oil industry or something similar. In 8th grade we were talking about our Easter break and my friend from Belgium was talking about how his family had decided last minute to go there over the break, but had decided to drive there because there were no flights available. Then this Russian billionaire classmate of mine asked him, why don't you take a private jet? She was so clueless when we started laughing. To sum it up, Roommate thinks he worked hard for his life when in reality everything was given to him for free. Had a malarkey roommate who ate my food. Was always late on rent, so I had to float it until he paid me back. Kept using my clothes/stuff without asking. I paid off a $1,700 collections debt for him. It was preventing his tenant application from going through, and we did not have time to find someone else. And he was seemingly completely incapable of caring for himself. His income was mainly begging for donations on his League of Legends stream, and when my other 2 roommates and I kicked him out for a host of crappy behaviors, he set up a GoFundMe lying about what happened. He claimed I kicked him out so I could get a girl to replace him and get laid, and asking for money. I gave him 2 months to move out, and in the end the rest of us had to throw his malarkey in a storage unit. He figured it would all just go away if he ignored it. Afterward, he somehow married a Chinese girl with a family running a very successful MLM scheme. He's pretty wealthy now but still streams LOL on Twitch asking for money and still has not paid me that $1,700 back. Ironically, the story he told to literally anyone who would listen was that he grew up poor in Kentucky without running water, found his own way to California, never mentions that he crowdfunded that trip, and to this day touts himself as having succeeded from his own efforts. He's an avid Redditor, so well, if you see this, go fuck yourself. A woman I knew a few years ago. She had a job. She was convinced she was supposed to be a movie star. She never did any acting, though. She also told me about the married man that she had slept with. He loves me, but he cannot leave his wife. She actually did stop having sex with him, but they still hung out. My sister-in-law, kicked out by her boyfriend, comes to stay with us for a few days. We suggest looking for a flat/cheap house to rent near us. She would not live in the scummy part of town near us. Shed like a 3-bed house with garden in the best part of town. She has no savings and ISN not sure if she has a job. Was a part-time cashier in a supermarket. Stopped going to work when COVID came. Note, not furloughed. Supermarket still open. She's just not going in. When I suggested maybe she could not afford £500k on a family home on her salary, she suggested she'd just get a council house, disregarding the huge waiting list and the fact that most council properties are right the ghetto parts of town. This is just the crust of a deep layer of unhinged fantasy world that she lives in. My sister is like this. She thinks she is a millionaire who is just down on her luck temporarily, despite the fact that she cannot hold down a job, take care of her pets, or pay her bills. It's incredibly difficult to watch. My brother on his own, let's just take his rich fiance out of the equation, cannot afford to even live where he currently rents cause he's on minimum wage. I worked my ass off to buy my house on my own. After working multiple jobs and saving up, he called my new area a malarkey hole in front of my entire family, when in reality, if he was dumped by his fiancée, he would not even be able to afford a bedsit. Biggest snob. My dad gave him a super expensive award-winning bottle of wine and he texted him saying it tasted ducking awful. My brother is in tons of debt, but cause his fiance's family is wealthy, has acting like has part of the elite and looks down on where I live, which is a lovely affordable working class town BTW. Parents of a 35 years old woman who was hospitalized after suffering severe anoxic brain damage 20 years ago. She had been in the same ward since, barely conscious. They refused to get her transferred to a more suitable facility for 20 years, saying that there's no reason to do so. Those facilities are for lost causes, and their daughter is going to make a full recovery, finish school, get married and be totally fine. Working in hospitals got me quite a collection of these stories, but this one I thought was one of the saddest ones. My father. He is an habitual liar. I somehow think he believes his own lies. Over the past couple of years I have noticed he doesn't actually have anything new to say, sort of regurgitates sentences in slightly different ways. It's caused his business to fail. He lied to everyone that was employed there, saying he had to liquidate the company, going so far as to tell people he met with lawyers and the process has been started. I did some digging and found out there were no lawyers or liquidation. He just tried to duck the system. I have no contact with him, but my brother says he is still trying to use the same tactics. I just feel he believes everything. Sort of like living in his own head. Very sad that he damaged lives in the process. Work with a girl who is a flat earther, and on top of that denied the existence of space. When the topic came up, and I disagreed, she asked if I had ever been there. Obviously I haven't not. I told her I have also never been to Japan, and that does not mean it does not exist. She complained to management about my intolerance of her beliefs. This was from a regional manager of Starbucks. After they removed merit-based raises that could go up to a 5% increase, changed to a flat 2% increase. When she asked if people liked the new raise plan, I said actually no. They feel unmotivated with no reason to perform any better than just normal. Regional manager, your staff need to realize working is not about money. Whoa, hey, take it easy, it is the end of the video. Do not worry, there are many more. Come aboard the ship for more trips. Like and subscribe for more posts from the Reddit Sea Cove. Thanks for watching.